Kings or Warriors? Now, I hope a lot of you know with me. I mean, I grew up on Run TMC, and I could still name you pretty much the entire 1992 Golden State Warriors team roster. Not just the starting five, but all the players from back in the day, from Chris Gatling to Alton Lister to Sharunas Marciulionis. That was a big part of my interest growing up, was basketball and the Warriors back in the day. And they were never like a top team like they are now. They didn't have a Steph Curry or a Klay Thompson or a Draymond, but they were respectable. They were dangerous. That quick couple years of Run TMC, Billy Owens, I'll throw in that name too. But, I grew up on the Warriors. That being said, I never had it in for the Sacramento Kings, like geographically or competitively. I never hated the Kings like a lot of people do in a geographical rivalry. And it's like A's and Giants fans have it, a certain disconnect there, right? Dodgers and Angels fans, Mets and Yankees, Cubs and White Sox. I know I skipped over to baseball. I would imagine it's like that for Lakers and Clippers fans. I never really had angst for the Sacramento Kings. And you know what? When they were really good and doing their things, early 2000s, and the Warriors weren't, I was happy for Sacramento. I love Sacramento, kind of as a market, as a different market, as the one that is really overshadowed by the Bay Area, also overshadowed by Los Angeles in our state. It's not the number one most, populous or popular area in California that people think about, Sacramento. But I love seeing them get excited about their team and having their team and the fact that they got to keep their team. I have a soft spot for that, right? Experiencing what the Oakland A's are going through, knowing the journey that they had all those years trying to get a new building, and when Kevin Johnson was mayor of Sacramento, and there was the old ownership group, but the new ownership group got it done, and the Maloofs were looking to move them to every corner of the continent, maybe. And it didn't happen. It felt like at one point they were out the door. I remember saying the terms irreconcilable differences on television about the Kings and Sacramento and the fact that they were going to move out of Arco and be done. In fact, I went to what I thought was one of the last few games at Arco. Like, well, this is my last chance to see the Kings ever play. Glad it wasn't. And now think of the turn of events. You got a De'Aaron Fox. You got a Mike Brown as head coach. You got a cast of exciting players. You're only building. Now they're buying at the trade deadline. They've got the building, which has been established. Unfortunately, they couldn't break it in like first 2 seasons with all this playoff run and talk and conversation, but they're here now. That's fine. You don't get to time it out perfectly every single time, but they're here now. They've got everything they need now. And now they're lighting the beam. I mean, I love that. Every team across professional sports should look in the mirror and say, why didn't we do that? I mean, let's just change over sports. Let's go to a different market. I love the Sharks. I've followed them since forever, the beginning of their existence, and I've worked with them now for 14 seasons. What if there was a big teal beam? Now, I don't know that you can do this in San Jose because the final approach course of the airport is like right over SAP Center. But in Sacramento at Golden One, they can do this. It's a little bit, further removed. There's no dangers of lighting up a giant purple beam from the top of your ceiling, your roof. Imagine how cool that would be in downtown San Jose. There's a big teal beam coming off the top of the tank. Now, at the same respect, excuse me, if you do that now, you're copying the Kings. They invented this. Has anybody else done the beam? Like they're doing it, how they're doing it, the way they're doing it, like literally push the button? That's not a real button, come on. But every win, even the road wins now. And when the team flies back into Sacramento, they land at the airport, and from a distance, they can see the big purple beam because they won earlier that night. That is so cool. So anyway, I know that's fan stuff. I know the beam. But that's what we're here to talk about. So, in all reality, I'll always love the Warriors. That was my team. And to enjoy the days still of like, I can't believe the Warriors won a title in my life. They won a few titles in my life. Because back when I first found out about basketball and came into it, and quite honestly, the entire decade of like the 2010s, really even the 2000s, I mean, besides the We Believe year, what else was there? Eric Dampier, Bob Sura, Mookie Blaylock on the team. Yeah. How many head coaches did we go through during those years? It was bad for a long time. So it now makes people like me totally appreciate where they're at now because of where they were before. Getting a little coffee here. And I don't mean like drink coffee. Like I'm starting to cough. Oh, the beam stays lit all night. I mean, come on. Come on. They are doing it. They're doing it right. This is Sacramento's time. Also let's not forget, Sacramento right now has the longest active playoff drought across professional sports. 16 years since they were in a postseason. The Seattle Mariners this past October ended their 21-year playoff drought. They were number one. Kings were number two. Now Kings are number one. I would love to see them not be number one anymore. Get to the playoffs.